Traveling through the world of, I am a Special Forces soldier, and receiving assistance from the Special Forces system, he is undoubtedly an actor, with makeup penetration relying entirely on acting. Have you ever heard of the sniper's thunder ring? He is undoubtedly the god of firearms. At the same time, he is also a pilot, tank soldier, artillery, and a versatile Special Forces king. Keywords of the novel. I have a Special Forces system without pop-ups, I have a complete download of the Special Forces system TXT, and I have the latest chapter of the Special Forces system to read. Chapter 1. Special Forces Assessment. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 1 Special Forces Assessment Entry Guide. This book is not a stallion script, only a female protagonist. It tells the story of an actor becoming a soldier. Readers who claim to be old and nitpicky should not enter the trap. Those who cannot turn away and insist on testing drugs with their own bodies are warned. Warning. Warning, we are not responsible for the outbreak of poisoning. In the rest of your past life, you were just a fool. Put aside the billions of assets and don't inherit them, come out and become a mouse soldier. A roar echoed through the city, filled with verbal abuse. For the rest of his life, he wore a jacket, jeans, and a pair of military boots. He looked about 1.8 meters tall and had a wheat-colored skin, which was very healthy. However, at this moment, he was frantically fleeing. And behind him, there are two patrolmen chasing after him with all their might, while still reporting. 901 reports to headquarters, 901 reports to headquarters, there is a dangerous man running away in the city with a gun and suspicious dangerous goods. Over. 901, headquarters has received it. Please keep monitoring and I will dispatch support immediately. That's it, replied the radio. 901 received, over. Two patrol officers chased after him relentlessly. Before his time traveling, Yu Sheng was a famous movie star and the nth Chinese actor to receive an Oscar recognition. A great director was preparing to shoot a movie with a modern military theme and selected him. In order to capture the demeanor of a soldier, I decided to enter the military district for the rest of my life and undergo systematic military training. However, who knew that just as the training was over and I was preparing to return the next day, I woke up and inexplicably traveled to the world where I am a Special Forces soldier. And for the rest of his life, he was a military enthusiast himself, and his father also hoped that he would develop a good habit in the army, which is why he came to join the army. I don't know where these two fools have gone wrong. They left their families billions of assets and didn't inherit them, so they had to come here to join the army. It's okay if you join the army, but they were fooled by Fan Tianlei's old fox and came here to become Special Forces. How many skills do you have? Don't you have any confidence in yourself? Can you be a Special Forces soldier? Are you proud that your family has money? During these few months of training, he almost collapsed. I finally escaped from the military district, but the result is back. How much harm has been done and now, he was tricked by the old fox of Fan Tianlei. As soon as he got off the car, Fan Tianlei immediately reported to the police that he had a pistol and dangerous goods in his hand. He showed it to the public, and it suddenly poked a hornet's nest. Now, he has become a wanted criminal in the city. As for how he died in his past life, the rest of his life is also inexplicable. Anyway, now the wanted criminal has become him. At the same time, he also received a task, which was to escape to the assembly point prepared by Fan Tianlei for them without anyone tracking them, which was also a test for them. This made the rest of his life think of scenes of He Chengwang, Wang Yanbing, and Li Erniu being tricked. He felt a bit amused at the time, but in the blink of an eye, it was his turn. With so many people chasing after him, how can we run? If we are surrounded and caught later, Fan Tianlei's wilted old fox will definitely take the opportunity to harm himself. Yu Xing cursed inwardly and ran towards a shop. Only in a crowded area can we shake off the patrol behind us. No, we need to retire as soon as possible. With so much money in our family, it's great to be a wealthy second generation. Why do we have to work tirelessly here as a Special Forces soldier? The seniors work tirelessly to become the movie emperor. In this life, we should learn to enjoy life and embrace each other, which is the life I should have. Yes, that's it. Just pretend to be caught later, then reveal your identity, and you should be able to apply to go home. Just as he had just made a decision for the rest of his life, heaven seemed to hear his inner voice. Suddenly, a mechanical sound rang out in his brain. Detected that the host is the only person who does not belong to this world, the Special Forces system was activated in advance, and the data is being scanned. Name: Yu Sheng. Age: 18 years old. Rank: Private. Attributes: Root Bone 1, Understanding 1, Constitution 1, Strength 1, Speed 1, Ordinary 1, Skill. World's Best Actor Level Acting Skills. Military Merit Value. 0-inch Task. Currently unavailable, the data scanning is completed, the first system task is released, escaping the pursuit of the patrol, successfully reaching the assembly point, and receiving a reward of 20 military merit points. If the task fails, the host will enjoy the thunder punishment massage. The mechanical sound had just disappeared, and for the rest of my life, I stumbled and almost fell to the ground. My eyes were wide open, as if seeing a ghost. It wasn't until the patrol officer chased after me that I suddenly regained my senses. Sleeping groove. Sleeping groove. Sleeping groove. The rest of my life, after coming to my senses, couldn't help but burst out in 3 rough sentences. System: I'll go to your grandmother's house. I know I'm the chosen one, but I want to go home and become a wealthy second generation. What do you mean by creating a Special Forces system? You even posted a mission, and there won't be any punishment if you don't complete it. Can you believe this? Let's discuss, can we have a spending system? I'm a wealthy second generation. For the rest of his life, he showed a constipated expression. Is it so easy to be a Special Forces soldier? That is a person who lives on the brink of life and death. According to the task instructions, one must reach the destination within 3 days. Normally, reaching the assembly point is not a big problem, and even very simple. However, now, with obstacles in the front and pursuers in the back, it is not that easy. Now it has become a foregone conclusion, and there is no chance to go back. For the rest of my life, I ran to a shopping mall and quickly bought a pair of glasses, a suit, a wig cover, and some cosmetics. Before becoming the best actor, he had learned makeup techniques. After all, many skills do not weigh on him. In just 10 minutes, he painted a makeup for himself, which led to a revolutionary change in his face. Coupled with wearing a suit, he became a successful entrepreneur. There's a slight discrepancy in temperament, we need to change it a bit. I looked at my face in the mirror for the rest of my life and felt extremely satisfied. The only difference was my temperament. Generally speaking, people who know how to look at people can judge their psychological activities through their eyes, but the rest of my life is different because he is an actor. What is an actor? An actor requires eye contact to move people's hearts, and eye contact is only the foundation of an actor. In just an instant, the rest of one's life's gaze began to change. Gentle, proud, and polite, this is the true successful entrepreneur. Because he is wearing a suit that is very well proportioned, he also looks very handsome. Stop. Yu Xing walked out of the restroom, and several police officers quickly ran over. With great calmness in his heart, he turned around and looked at these 4 police officers. Hello, may I ask if you have anything to do? I asked politely with a smile on my face, looking very polite and comfortable. These 4 police officers looked at the rest of their lives with confusion on their faces. One of the police officers asked, "Did you see a man with short hair and a jacket just inside?" There was a doubt in Yu Xing's eyes. He knew that the police officer was talking about him, and at this moment, he couldn't stand out. So Yusheng worked hard to perform, and at this moment, his acting skills at the level of an actor were also at their utmost. Sorry, I don't know either because when I first came out, I didn't see anyone else in the restroom. P.S. Recommend a new book of your own. Book title: The First Family of Eternal Times, Introduction. This is an invincible family. This is the strongest family development story from ancient times. Li Daoxian traveled through different realms to obtain a system and cultivated a group of eccentric family disciples with vastly different personalities. Emperor Wu. That's just my doorkeeper. Goddess. My family doesn't lack anything, just maids. The strongest demon god of all time. Just become a chef casually. People like us are used to do household chores in our family. I hope everyone can give this book more recommendation votes and add to the bookshelf. Each vote is the greatest support for the witch. Thank you for your support. New book, I hope everyone can provide more support. Just click on the recommended ticket and bookmark it. Thank you all. End of this chapter. Chapter 2. The Most Enjoyable Soldiers. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The source has no content or has errors. 3. Chapter 3 Assembly Points. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 3 Assembly Points on the third day. A certain assembly point. Report: a figure appeared at the entrance of the assembly point, dressed in rags and looking like a beggar. That look is as miserable as it is. And this person is not someone else, he is truly for the rest of his life. For the remaining 3 days of his life, he had the urge to strangle Fan Tianlei. For some reason, no matter how he acted, although he had deceived him for the first time, soon someone would accurately find him again. He firmly believes that with his acting skills, no one can tell that he is the one to be pursued for the rest of his life, because he is the Oscar-winning actor. At first, he suspected that it was Fan Tianlei who was behind it, but in the end, he became convinced because he saw a familiar person. Chen Shanming. Not bad, it's Chen Shanming. What he didn't expect was that this guy kept biting him so hard, which means this is what Fan Tianlei did. There must be a satellite monitoring his position all the time, and he doesn't understand. What exactly is this satellite monitoring him all the time? Is this too bullshit? Helpless, he began to run wildly, looking like a lost dog. Fortunately, at the critical moment, he arrived at the assembly point. Go in, Miao Lang said calmly as he looked at the time. Yes. The rest of my life answered and joined the team. When I joined the team, I saw He Chengwang and Wang Yanbing, who looked exactly like those in the TV series. At this moment, Fan Tianlei slowly walked into the assembly point with Chen Shanming. He looked at the faces with a smile on his face and said, "Hee, okay, so many have arrived at the designated time, which is beyond my expectations. If you have any doubts, you can speak up and I can answer them now." However, none of the people present spoke, but looked at Fan Tianlei so straightforwardly. Fan Tianlei smiled and said, "What are you all looking at me for? Tell me about your feelings this time." Report: at this moment, the rest of my life couldn't help but shout loudly. Speaking. Fan Tianlei couldn't help but look towards the source of the sound, and even He Chengwang and Wang Yanbing couldn't help but look towards the rest of their lives. During my escape, there were a few shameless individuals who called monitoring satellites and used location tracking to constantly monitor me. I wanted to ask the instructor why they could monitor my location in real time if they hadn't encountered me. Brush. As soon as this sentence was spoken, the people around him were in a state of uproar, and even He Chengwang and Wang Yanbing were stunned as they looked towards the rest of their lives. For the rest of his life, Fan Tianlei's face stiffened, and Chen Shanming showed a hint of embarrassment. Not bad, during the 3 days of tracking Yusheng, they put a lot of effort into it. They didn't expect that Yusheng was actually a skilled actor, and those armed police officers chased after him but lost him. In order not to make Yusheng too easy, Fan Tianlei dispatched Chen Shanming to chase and block him. Even Chen Shanming was dumped several times along the way. Unexpectedly, they had to speak up in front of so many people for the rest of their lives, which inevitably made them feel a bit embarrassed. As for He Chengwang and others, they were all shocked. Are you joking? Enable location tracking. Isn't this really cheating? They all knew that there was a positioning instrument on them, which Fan Tianlei had developed to monitor them and keep track of their movements. Unexpectedly, Fan Tianlei actually used a locator to act as an eye for the armed police. Your mother is really lacking that great virtue. At the same time, He Chengwang and Wang Yanbing both stared at the rest of their lives with pitiful eyes. Fan Tianlei smiled and said, this is all to test you and see if you are qualified to enter the Wolf Fang Special Forces Brigade. Don't think I don't know, kid. The easiest thing to say along the way is probably you. It's eating hot pot, picking up girls, and traveling. Others are not as carefree as you, Fan Tianlei said, making everyone around him look like monsters for the rest of his life, full of disbelief. Are you joking? The public security and armed police can be said to have sealed off the entire city. They were able to escape thanks to their hard work, but for the rest of their lives, they can still eat hot pot and make girls. Can we still travel? Are you joking? Sensing the strange gaze around him, it made Yuxing feel a bit uncomfortable, but he still stood straight and stared at Fan Tianlei without any submission. Damn it, if it weren't for this old fox, I would have been extremely carefree all the way. It was because of this old fox that I chased slowly along the way, like reincarnation, which made him extremely unhappy. He was just about to say something. A rapid sound rang out, and several figures walked over like lightning. For the rest of my life, I saw several familiar faces. Captain Wolf Fang, He Jijun. Captain of the Thunder Strike Team, Thunder Battle. Fire Phoenix Assault Team Instructor, Tan Xiaolin. For the rest of my life, my heart moved and I didn't expect everything to come. Fan Tianlei turned around and saluted He Jijun, saying, Chief. How's it going? How many people have passed? He Jijun also paid a military salute, his gaze flashing over these soldiers and asked. Looking back, there were 300 people participating in the selection, and currently 100 have passed the selection, Fan Tianlei said loudly. Well, not bad. He Jijun was also a bit surprised. He didn't expect so many people to pass the first level test, which was a bit unexpected. As far as he knew, this time it was a joint deployment of the public security and armed police, and these people were able to be left, indicating their good abilities. Didi, the host completes the task and rewards the host with 20 military merit points. Didi, the host has military merit points, and the mall system is starting. Didi, the first-tier mall system has been launched. At this moment, a hurried voice shattered the calmness in his mind for the rest of his life, and he was ecstatic. He was a man with a system, and if the system didn't appear at this moment, he would almost forget its existence. Yuxing hurriedly asked, what does a system mall mean? What are its functions? Being able to have a system once in this lifetime, I am also extremely excited for the rest of my life, and I can't help but ask. He felt a sudden change in front of him, and then, out of thin air, he added the 5 big characters Special Forces Mall under his attribute panel. It is indeed a shopping mall. During the rest of my life, I was overjoyed and touched the Special Forces Mall. Brush. The scene before me changed, resembling a warehouse panel display, with many products listed above. The blood of ancient golden winged dapeng. The blood of ancient dragon elephants and divine beasts. Ancient cannibalistic flower genes. The genes of the evergreen willow tree. Special Forces Divine Strength Training Room. Special Forces Divine Speed Training Room. Looking at the various treasures listed in the Special Forces Mall, my heart beats faster for the rest of my life. It can be said that there is everything in the mall. Hello everyone, I am Yaoji. I would like to request to join the bookshelf and receive recommended tickets. I hope everyone can support Yaoji more. End of this chapter. Chapter 4. Blood Fusion. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 4 Blood Fusion. Just by this name, these things are absolutely amazing. The next second, Yusheng's face froze as he saw the price tag below each item starting at 10,000 yuan. For a moment, Yusheng's mouth twitched violently and he said, "So expensive." He currently only has 20 military merit points, and looking at items that can easily reach tens of thousands gives him an impulse to go berserk for the rest of his life. System, are these things all so expensive? The host is only looking at high-end malls, which are naturally much more expensive. Please let the host look at junior malls. Immediately after, there was a change in the rest of my life, and these products in front of me returned to normal. The blood of a century-old unicorn beast. The blood of a century-old dragon elephant divine beast. The blood of a 100-year-old golden-winged giant pang. Special Forces Response Training Room. Special Forces Training Room. Beginner-level aircraft piloting. Beginner-level tank driving. A series of products, although their names haven't changed much, have all changed from ancient to century-old. This leaves me speechless for the rest of my life. These century-old products are definitely not as good as those from ancient times, but what kind of thing are these in the training room? Although I don't know what it is, I still feel very awesome for the rest of my life. However, even so, these genetic blood will still cause a toothache for the rest of my life, as it is still too expensive and requires hundreds. For a while, I feel a bit disheartened. No cheap ones. It's a contribution value, can't buy anything. For the rest of his life, he looked around and fortunately, there were things in the last box that he could afford. Special Forces Response Training Room. Special Forces Training Room. Special Forces Speed Training Room. Seeing these things, I was puzzled for the rest of my life. Are these things all for practicing the speed of special forces? Not only that, he also discovered many strange things, but currently only this little thing is affordable. Because the host is purchasing goods for the first time, all products are given a discount to the host. It is recommended that the host immediately consume military merit and purchase the items needed by the host. One-fold. After listening for the rest of his life, his expression lit up with joy. He didn't expect the system to have a one-fold at this moment, which made him slightly excited. For the rest of my life, I immediately looked at the blood of these divine beasts and the genes of a century-old plant. These are all good things. What's good to buy? Seeing so many products, he pondered for the rest of his life, because with so many products, he didn't know what to buy or write for a moment. The system suggests that the host purchase the blood of the centennial dragon elephant divine beast. The system's voice echoed in the rest of his life, saying, "Dragon elephant blood, possessing the genes of a dragon elephant, makes the host feel like a dragon elephant. Although not a divine beast, it possesses powerful power and explosive power." "Do you still have thoughts?" said the rest of his life in surprise. It's normal for the system to have ideas, but everything in this system is for the host's benefit and primarily serves the host's interests. After hearing this for the rest of my life, I feel that the system analysis should be good. But I have 20 military merit points in my hand, so I can definitely purchase 2 types of divine beast blood. Thinking of this, I felt a little excited for the rest of my life. The host, whether it is divine beast blood or plant genes, is advised by the system to fuse one type at a time and wait for a period of time before fusing the second type, because the fusion of 2 types of blood or plant genes will cause great pain to the host, and there may even be risks such as failure and death. As soon as the system's words were spoken, it made the rest of my life look black and somewhat unattractive. I didn't expect so many things to be involved inside. Purchase the blood of a century-old dragon elephant divine beast. After thinking for a moment, the rest of my life spoke up directly. The host purchases the blood of the centennial dragon elephant divine beast, and the system mall price returns to normal. When I heard this news for the rest of my life, I stumbled and almost fainted to the ground. What's the deal, damn it? Is it a discount for just one item? Aren't you a jerk? Dragon Elephant Beast Blood. It can possess explosive power similar to that of a dragon elephant, and also give the host super strong willpower and dragon elephant-like power. So powerful. In Gene Dada's works, there once appeared a dragon elephant Prajnaparamita skill. At that time, when Gene Dada reached the 12th level, he was invincible in the world, which shows how domineering this dragon elephant was. For a moment, the rest of his life was filled with turmoil. In his past life, he was just an actor, and he knew nothing about these things. Seeing these things now, he couldn't help but feel a little moved. Having such power oneself requires a heavenly rhythm. Didi is the host fused with the blood of a century-old dragon elephant divine beast. Fusion, immediately merge. Immediately after, for the rest of his life, he felt a quiet change in his body, which was very obvious, especially in his bones, as if there was a powerful explosive force. Once that force erupted, he felt like he could kick a small tree. Even a stone can be smashed. And this ability, as long as you think about it, will appear instantly, which can be said to be very convenient. Such ability also opens a new door for the rest of one's life. This made him curious about the system. Didi, the blood fusion of the divine beast has been successful, and currently the host has a level 1 divine beast form. Hearing this, I couldn't help feeling excited for the rest of my life. But soon for the rest of my life, I felt something was wrong. After all, it was just a divine beast. How could you feel so weak? Host, although you have fused the blood of a divine beast, you are not a divine beast after all, and the power of a divine beast is not something that ordinary people can bear. The blood fused by the host needs to be continuously developed. I rely on. For the rest of my life, upon hearing this, my face turned black. However, thinking about it was also right. If I had fused the blood of a divine beast and become a divine person, that would be the evil sect. That soldier, you stand out. At this moment, Jijun pointed to the rest of his life. Because in his sharp gaze, he noticed that during his speech, it seemed that only the rest of his life had a slightly scattered gaze, and his thoughts were wandering beyond the sky. The sudden scene made Lei Zhan and his companions inevitably look towards the rest of their lives. But for the rest of his life, it seemed as if he had not heard what Jijun was saying, still standing still and motionless. For the rest of my life, please leave. Upon seeing this, Fan Tianlei's face froze and he immediately shouted loudly. Yes. For the rest of my life, I just came back to my senses from the system and heard my own name. I suddenly exclaimed loudly. What's going on with this soldier? Who brought him here? Jijun looked at the rest of his life with some dissatisfaction. After all, he was a big leader. During his speech, this kid was wandering around the world, so he was so happy. Chief, his name is Yu Sheng and he is a graduate of Peking University. Oh. Upon hearing this, Jijun couldn't help but feel a bit surprised and said with great interest, if that's the case, that high-achieving student is him. Yes. Jijun has also heard of Yu Sheng, a college graduate from Peking University, who came here to serve in the military. Even he was somewhat surprised. It should be noted that even outside, Yu Sheng still has a promising future. Generally speaking, few Peking University students come to serve in the military. For the rest of my life, just now I was talking. You were wandering around the world, but you have any dissatisfaction with me, Jijun shouted. Report to the leader, I am not dissatisfied with you, but with this assessment. Because of the entire team, only I was subjected to satellite surveillance. Can you please ask for a recommendation ticket? Can you please add a new book to the bookshelf? End of this chapter. Chapter 5. Branch Line Tasks. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 5 Branch Line Tasks, What's Going On? He Jijun was taken aback and couldn't help but look at Fan Tianlei. For an instant, Fan Tianlei's old face turned black. I didn't expect this kid to belong to Brother Ping too, so he holds grudges like this. Reporting to the leader's comrades is all for training purposes. Upon hearing Fan Tianlei's words, He Jijun instantly understood that it must have been Fan Tianlei who had started a small stove for this kid. This surprised He Jijun a bit. What virtues does Fan Tianlei have? He wouldn't be clear about it. Can you still pass the level by opening a small stove for the rest of your life? It seems that this kid needs further exploration. He Jijun's face turned cold and he immediately shouted, "This is an assessment. You are soldiers and should obey orders from superiors." "Yes," Yu Xing shouted loudly. "Now, push-ups, 100, start immediately," He Jijun shouted. "Yes. For the rest of my life, I didn't talk nonsense and started doing push-ups in place. People around me couldn't help but be taken aback when they saw this situation, but they didn't say anything. The duty of a soldier is to obey. For the rest of my life, I will definitely suffer if I confront the instructor like this." For the rest of his life, he did push-ups in place at a very fast pace, which made both He Jijun and Fan Tianlei feel a bit shocked. "This kid is so fast," He Jijun said somewhat surprised. "However, with such a fast speed, it's probably difficult for him to complete 100. I am just a college student for the rest of my life, and my physique is definitely incomparable to some soldiers. Moreover, doing push-ups so quickly may cause exhaustion in a short time. Therefore, a constant speed is the best way to maintain physical strength." Fan Tianlei also had some doubts and took a deep look at the rest of his life without saying much. "Report to the leader, the push-ups are completed, please give instructions." The movements of the rest of his life were noticed by He Jijun, and even He Jijun couldn't help but feel a bit shaken. 1 minute. This kid actually did 100 push-ups in 1 minute. How could a college student have such strong physical strength? He Jijun believes that completing 100 push-ups for the rest of his life is definitely about 1 minute, not much. Even Fan Tianlei stared at the rest of his life with bright eyes, as if he was looking at a treasure. He Chengwang and Wang Yanbing were also somewhat solemn, both of whom were the kind who refused to give up, especially when they saw the experts. They were full of fighting spirit. "That's amazing." Li Erniu stood by, staring blankly at the rest of his life and couldn't help but say, "It's much more impressive than me. I can't even do 100 in a minute." He Jijun's face was calm. After all, they were new recruits for the rest of their lives. At first, they had to take down the pride of these new recruits, otherwise they would be difficult to control in the future. "In fact, even for the rest of my life, I couldn't help but feel a bit surprised." Push-ups, according to his ability, completing them in 3 minutes is considered good, but he didn't expect to complete 100 push-ups in just 1 minute. Not only that, he also felt an inexhaustible power in his body. These 100 push-ups didn't even cost a bit. He knew that all of this was definitely caused by the blood of the Dragon Elephant Divine Beast, because he ate the blood of the Dragon Elephant Divine Beast, which caused his body to mutate. "Lei Zhan, let these soldiers see what push-ups are." "Chief, don't worry, it's just a group of rookies." Lei Zhan lay down in place and made a standard push-up posture. Immediately after, as the starting command sounded, everyone present turned their attention to the thunder battle in unison. When they saw the speed of the thunder battle clearly, everyone's eyes were stunned. Lei Zhan's push-up posture is very standard, which can be said to be at the textbook level, but what is most shocking is his speed in doing push-ups. Everyone stared at Lei Zhan with wide eyes, thinking to themselves, is this a Special Forces soldier? Special Forces are also quite powerful, aren't they? Everyone had a slight longing. Lei Zhan was the captain of the Thunderbolt Assault Team, and everyone wanted to see how strong this captain was. 45 seconds later. Lei Zhan stood up, saluted the military, and loudly said, "Report to the leader, the push-ups are over." 45 seconds, not bad, Ji-jun smiled and nodded, saying. Brushing. Everyone turned pale and suddenly took a breath of cold air, doing 100 push-ups in 45 seconds. How could this be possible? Isn't it said that you can do around 130 in 1 minute? Many of them come from various military regions and are also elites, but they believe they can never achieve it, even for the rest of their lives. I have a brain. Wang Yanbing couldn't help but take a cold breath. It's just nonsense. Su Tianlong couldn't help but say. Lei Zhan looked at these stunned soldiers and proudly said, physical strength is the most basic skill of special forces. To become a qualified special forces soldier, the minimum time is 54 seconds and 100. After watching Lei Zhan for the rest of his life, he pouted and realized that he was indeed a proud and arrogant guy. How about it? Do you know the difference now? Ji-jun looked at these stunned soldiers and smiled. These soldiers had to beat and beat well. Judging from the appearance of these soldiers, he knew that this beating was not in vain. This is your standard, and it's also the standard for special forces. Ji-jun's gaze fell on Yuxing again, who felt a little speechless when he saw this. Lei Zhan is the captain of the assault team. He is just an ordinary soldier, how can he compare with Lei Zhan, and he has only been in the army for a short time. Well, this is too bullying. Ding! The Special Forces system has released a mission to compete with Thunder in a push-up competition and win Thunder, rewarding the host with 20 military merit points. Brush. For the rest of his life, his face stiffened and he froze on the spot. Can I defeat Lei Zhan? Are you joking? Lei Zhan is the captain of the Thunderbolt assault team, who created the Fire Phoenix and is also the strongest military king of the Minnan military region. Just 45 seconds and 100 push-ups, probably the other party just followed suit and didn't exert all their strength. Although I have dragon, elephant, divine beast blood, may I be able to match it. For a while, he felt a bit insecure for the rest of his life. He felt that his physical strength was very strong, but it might not be easy to compare with Lei Zhan. Especially in TV dramas, the power brought by lightning warfare is deeply ingrained, and this guy is even more of a war king, please believe in the system. The Special Forces system is so powerful that you can't imagine it. This system will cultivate the host into the most outstanding special forces in various branches of the army, none of them. Thunder warfare is the first target of the host. If the host cannot even perform lightning warfare, how can they become the king of war? You're amazing. I can't help feeling speechless for the rest of my life. You really stand up and talk without hurting your back. I am not the one who competes in emotions. But for the rest of my life, there was also a hint of wariness in my heart. Is Lei Zhan. He also wants to see if his dragon elephant divine beast blood can withstand thunder wars. Report requesting a recommendation ticket and joining the bookshelf. It is said that if you vote for a recommendation ticket, your name will change to a different color. End of this chapter. Chapter 6. Competition. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 6 Competition, Speak. Ji-jun spoke up. Chief, I want to compete with Thor in push-ups. Brush. As soon as he said this, not only Ji-jun was stunned, but even Fan Tianlei and He Chengwan were also stunned on the spot. Obviously, they did not expect that they would challenge Lei Zhan for the rest of their lives. For a moment, they were also slightly moved. Life and death are indifferent, if you don't agree, do it. As a soldier, one should have the courage not to give up. For a moment, they all stood in awe. Who is Thor? That's the captain of the Thunderbolt assault team, and he's also the king in the army. Even ordinary special forces have to be crushed. And for the rest of their lives, they have the courage to fight against the Thunder God, which makes them all somewhat admirable. Are you going to compete with me? Lei Zhan glanced coldly at the rest of his life and sneered, can you do 100 push-ups in 45 seconds? Neng. His eyes flickered for the rest of his life, and he immediately shouted loudly. Thunderbolt originally intended to satirize Yu Sheng for a few words, but he didn't expect Yu Sheng to say so directly. This made Thunderbolt feel that his authority was being challenged and shouted, "Kid, anyone can say big things. You don't have the qualifications to compete with me now." Thunderbolt had a proud and coquettish expression on his face. In his eyes, the rest of his life was like a rookie egg. He was a real war king, and winning the rest of his life was not very honorable. If it weren't for He Jijun's words just now, he wouldn't have shown these things in front of these people. Okay, courage is commendable. As a soldier, one should have the courage to not give up. He Jijun smiled and said, "Lei Zhan, compare yourself to him. I also want to see what this kid has." Upon hearing this, Lei Zhan furrowed his brow and felt slightly dissatisfied. However, the duty of a soldier was to obey, and Lei Zhan dared not disobey He Jijun's wishes. He loudly said, "Yes, chief." Lei Zhan stared coldly at the rest of his life, with a hint of mockery on his face. "How do you want to compare?" 1 hour is the limit, whoever does more counts as the winner, Yu Sheng shouted. Faced with the battle of thunder, he had full confidence. If it were only about speed, it seemed meaningless, so for the rest of his life, he decided to compete with the battle of thunder for real. Okay. Lei Zhan gave a faint glance at the rest of his life, with a slightly confident smile on his face, and said, "I'll show you what the true king of war is." Yu Sheng also sensed Lei Zhan's disdain and ridicule, which made him feel a bit unhappy in his heart. He did not retaliate, but instead stared at Lei Zhan with indifference, with a strong sense of war in his eyes. The confidence and calmness of the rest of his life also surprised and unbelievable He Jijun and Fan Tianlei. If it were someone else, it would be difficult to face Lei Zhan head-on. Therefore, such people lack confidence and the final result will definitely not be satisfactory. When competing on the same stage, the first challenge is overall strength, followed by psychological quality. If psychological quality is not good, even with strong strength, it cannot be fully utilized. Such people also find it difficult to become special forces soldiers. As a soldier, what is needed is a spirit of not giving up and a steel-like will. For the rest of his life, he is just an ordinary soldier, and even more so, this kid has only been in the army for half a year. When facing a thunderous battle, he can still unleash his fighting spirit, which is a small surprise to him. "Old Fan, it seems you've picked up a good seedling this time." He Jijun couldn't help but speak up. "Hee, Fan Tianlei grinned and said, "That's for sure. My perspective on people is definitely not wrong. If such soldiers are well trained, they may not become a king of war in the future," exclaimed He Jijun. "Brush." Fan Tianlei was also somewhat shocked. "I didn't expect He Jijun's evaluation of Yu Sheng to be so high. However, with the courage of Yu Sheng to fight against Lei, it is worth praising, and Fan Tianlei also appreciates this." "Commander, please time it," Lei Zhan looked at He Jijun and said. "I'll do it," Fan Tianlei said with a smile. Fan Tianlei took out a stopwatch and then looked at Lei Zhan and Yu Sheng. At this moment, both of them were already in their respective positions, with extremely standard postures. Start. As soon as Fan Tianlei finished speaking, both of them started working at a constant speed. They were competing for an hour to see who could do more, so neither of them was in a hurry, as there was still a long time to go. In the end, there is still time to sprint. If we sprint now, it will consume a lot of energy and it will be difficult to persist until the end. At this moment, for the rest of his life, he felt that every cell of himself was full of strength. Although he had just done 100 push-ups, it consumed some of it, but now he still feels exceptionally explosive. Quickly, both of them arrived at 50 minutes, at which point their numbers were the same, and the next 10 minutes were the real time to assess both of them. By 50 minutes, both of them had already achieved over 2,000, but Lei Zhan had done dozens more than the rest of his life. Nevertheless, this is already a very terrifying quantity. After doing 50 minutes, both of them were a bit tired. After all, it was a 50-minute push-up, and in such a situation, they had to do it very well. Lei Zhan also gritted his teeth, his gaze cold and sharp. For a moment, he was also a bit weak, but he could still hold on. He was the king of war, and he continued to hold on for 10 minutes without any problem. However, even so, he reached his limit. Lei Zhan tilted his head and glanced at Yu Sheng. At this moment, Yu Sheng was also sweating profusely. Lei Zhan gave a cold smile and said, "A rookie wants to compete with himself, beyond his means. Drink." Lei Zhan let out a loud shout, his arms full of strength, and his speed also accelerated. The explosive power surprised everyone around me. So powerful, so amazing explosive power, is this the strength of the War King? He Chengwang looked at Lei Zhan with some shock and took a cold breath. This is the real soldier, and I also want to become such a soldier. Wang Yanbing shook his hands and stared at Lei Zhan with fiery eyes. For the rest of his life, he also sensed Lei Zhan's mockery. At this moment, he felt as if his hands were filled with lead, very uncomfortable. He thought he could do it for an hour without any problem, but he never expected that the explosive power of Lei Zhan would be so strong. After doing it for 50 minutes, he surprisingly still has such speed. Sweat slowly flowed down the forehead for the rest of his life. He still gritted his teeth and persevered, relying entirely on his willpower to support himself. His physical fitness was only one, which is just an ordinary person. If it weren't for the fusion of dragon, elephant, divine beast blood, and 10 minutes of practice, he would probably have already collapsed. Drink. Yu Sheng couldn't help but roar. At this moment, his veins on his arm burst out, and even his blood was boiling. If someone were to observe the remaining blood under an optical microscope at this moment, they would find. At this moment, the rest of my life's blood underwent a earth-shattering change. As the blood boiled, the cells in my body were crazily dividing, and red blood cells were also rapidly delivering oxygen. I don't know where the power surged out, and it spread throughout my body. Bomb. Starting today, we will start 2 shifts. Could you please recommend a ticket and join the bookshelf? I hope everyone can support the witch a lot. Thank you all for the recommended votes. Thank you very much. End of this chapter. 7, Chapter 7 Task Completion. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 7 Task Completion. In this moment, the rest of my life caught everyone's attention, and everyone around me showed a shocked expression. The veins on his arms were bulging like a dragon, but anyone could tell that his arms were full of explosive energy and had a strong visual impact. Moreover, the most terrifying thing was his speed. Compared to the beginning, the speed of the rest of my life has increased by 2 times, which is more than just a little faster than lightning warfare. Such an amazing scene left everyone stunned. Good kid. He Jijun's face was full of fear. The power he unleashed for the rest of his life was even stronger than that of the Thunder War. How did this kid actually do it? Is it a breakthrough? Just now, it was clear that he was about to reach his limit, and in the blink of an eye, he burst out with full force, which was unimaginable. Even Fan Tianlei is not much better, he is equally terrifying. Who is Lei Zhan? That's the strongest military king, and an hour of push-ups is not particularly challenging for lightning warfare. If you want to become a military king, if you can't even do an hour, then you're not a military king. But the speed of Lei Zhan was surpassed. The number of push-ups he did for the rest of his life was also catching up with Lei Zhan at lightning speed. In an instant, Lei Zhan also felt threatened. If he didn't put in more effort, he might be outdone by this kid. No, we can't let this kid compete. He's the captain of the impressive Thunderbolt Assault team. If he loses to the rest of his life, he doesn't have to mess around anymore. Lei Zhan also accelerated his speed, even reaching the limit, but even so, he was shocked to find that he still couldn't keep up with the speed of the rest of his life. How could this be possible? This kid is just the most ordinary soldier, and he hasn't even received training as a special forces soldier. How could he have such strong explosive power? Is this kid born with divine power? 30 seconds. Now there are only 30 seconds left. 5 less than the Thunder War in my remaining life. Drink. In this moment, the rest of my life accelerated a bit, and everyone present took a deep breath. It's accelerating again, this guy, it's accelerating again. He Chengwang and Wang Yanbing both stared excitedly at the rest of their lives, their eyes flickering, and the soldiers around them were also excited. Even Fan Tianlei's expression of shock became even more severe. At first, he accelerated his speed for the rest of his life, which he could understand. After all, people held their breath and often could charge up in the end. However, accelerating twice was somewhat surprising, as people are not cars and do not have gears. With such amazing physical strength and explosive power, I am fully qualified to join the red blood cell group. If I still have shooting talent for the rest of my life, I am afraid I will be another top soldier, and even as He Jijun said, I may become a king of soldiers for the rest of my life. There are still 5 seconds left. At 5 seconds, the rest of my life was only 1 second away from the thunderous battle. With only 5 seconds left, my eyes widened, my blood boiled, and even the veins on my forehead burst. 4 seconds. 3 seconds. 2 seconds. I caught up, there are already as many of them as before, everyone couldn't help but shout excitedly. There's still one last second left, the last second. 1 second. Bomb. At the last second, I did 2 more battles for the rest of my life, but I only did 1, no more, no less, which happened to be 1 more than mine, winning by 1. In that moment, the whole scene was as silent as death, and they all looked at the rest of their lives with a monster-like expression. This guy was simply a demon. Okay. The crowd couldn't help but scream in excitement, even Fan Tianlei couldn't help but shout out. He didn't expect that the soldier he found could defeat the strongest military king. This proud achievement even made him feel passionate. This is the strongest military king, defeated by just 1 soldier. He is simply a genius, born to be a soldier. He Jijun also took a deep look at the rest of his life. Unexpectedly, it was truly unexpected that this soldier, who had only been in the army for half a year, actually won. Unbelievable, it's simply unbelievable. If it weren't for first-hand observation, no one would believe that a soldier who has only been in the army for less than half a year has won the strongest military king. Especially with its amazing explosive power and potential, he hasn't seen such a genius for a long time. At this moment, Lei Zhan's face was extremely ugly. Did a military king lose to a soldier? Face slapping, this is a blatant face slapping, and even he did not show any signs of letting go in the end. It can be said that he lost to the rest of his life by 1 margin. For a moment, there was an inexhaustible anger in his chest that almost ignited him. Didi, the host defeats Lei Zhan and gains 20 military merit points. Didi, the host completes the hidden task, gains recognition from Fan Tianlei and He Jijun, and rewards the host with 10 military merit points. 30 points of military merit. And completed the hidden mission. I was stunned for the rest of my life, but soon became incredibly excited. Unexpectedly, I accidentally completed the hidden task, which was really quite interesting. System, what is the situation with this hidden task? Host, there are 4 types of tasks. 1 is the main task, followed by the side task, random task, and hidden task. Each time the task is completed, corresponding military merit points will be obtained. Is there such a situation? For the rest of my life, I look very happy. As of now, he has a total of 40 military merit points. What can he buy with 40 military merit points? Thinking of this, I couldn't help but feel a little excited for the rest of my life. However, I feel a bit disappointed. It would be great if I had 100 military merit points now. This way, I can buy another divine beast blood or gene. Once fused, my strength will be further enhanced. Unfortunately, that item is too expensive. Currently, it seems that I can't afford it and have to wait. System, how can I improve my attributes? I suddenly thought of a question for the rest of my life, which is my own attribute problem. So far, I am still an ordinary person's attribute. You can use military merit to increase, and when the host obtains divine beast blood and even genes, you can also improve attributes. When the host trains on their own, breaking through the limit can also improve. I see. The rest of my life immediately looked at my own panel, hoping to find a way to improve it. Name: Yu Sheng. Age: 18 years old. Rank: Private. Attributes: Root Bone 2, Understanding 2, Constitution 2, Strength 2, Speed 2, Ordinary 1, Skill. World's Best Actor Level Acting Skills. Dragon Elephant Divine Beast Level 1 Divine Beast Form is full of passion. When did the attribute value change? Yusheng was stunned and asked in confusion. The host has fused the blood of the Dragon Elephant Divine Beast, and the attribute values have naturally increased, said the system. I see. Ask for a recommendation ticket and join the bookshelf. Thank you for your support, as well as the brothers and sisters who have voted. End of this chapter. Chapter 8. Main Task. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 8 Main Task. The attribute has been added to 2, which means he has surpassed ordinary people and become a soldier heading towards Special Forces. Although he doesn't know what the average Special Forces attribute value is, he knows that it is definitely much higher than the current one. In the rest of his life, he suddenly realized that there was a blade-like gaze staring at him, which made him feel uncomfortable. When he looked, it turned out that Lei Zhan was glaring at him in anger. He remained indifferent and ignored the thunderous battle. Very good, very good. He Jijun was also very happy. As the captain of the Wolf Fang squadron, he naturally liked such talents. He Jijun said loudly, although you won, you only won a push-up, which does not mean you have won the War King. Because the battlefield is not more than push-ups, it is more about fighting and surviving. If on the battlefield, you are already a dead person. He Jijun continued to criticize the crowd. After all, they were going to give these new recruits some courage. If they were to give these people some encouragement, their tails would not be able to rise to the sky. However, such a metaphor by He Jijun makes a person's face extremely ugly. This person is Lei Zhan. 1-1. What's so special is that we're just missing this one. If we lose, we'll lose. He Jijun is still sharpening his knife on Lei Zhan's body, and Lei Zhan's anger has also reached the edge of the outbreak. It's shameful to lose to a soldier as a military king. Report to the leader. Lei Zhan suddenly shouted loudly. Speak, said He Jijun. I want to compete with him again, Lei Zhan shouted loudly. It was obvious that Lei Zhan wanted to find a place again. He Jijun frowned, not realizing that losing would have such a big reaction for Lei Zhan. He Jijun said, no way. Leader, I. Lei Zhan's face darkened as he heard it. He was about to say something when He Jijun interrupted him. Lei Zhan, return to the team. Yes, thundered Lei Zhan. Old Fan, I'll leave this to you. He Jijun looked at Fan Tianlei and said. Yes, Wolf Head. Fan Tianlei saluted, and He Jijun also returned a military salute. Fan Tianlei turned around with standard steps, looked at the people present, and loudly said, now, you come with me back to the Wolf Fang Special Battle Base. Just. Speaking of which, Fan Tianlei's mouth twitched slightly, revealing a playful smile. Seeing this signature smile for the rest of his life, a sense of unease arose in his heart. He felt that Fan Tianlei seemed to be causing trouble again. As expected. This is 10 kilometers away from Lengia Special Operations Base, so next you need to do 10 kilometers of off-road. 10 kilometers means that even an athlete can run 10 kilometers. If you want to become an excellent Special Forces soldier, this is just the starting point. Report. At the next moment, a voice suddenly broke the calm here. The person speaking was undoubtedly He Chengwang. He had just seen the rest of his life defeating Lei Zhan, which made his blood boil. That's why he couldn't help but want to show himself. Say it, Fan Tianlei said. We can't wait anymore, please give the order as soon as possible, He Chengwang said loudly. He. Fan Tianlei laughed and said, what's wrong? Are you all in such a hurry to become a Special Forces soldier one by one? Very good, very good. I like soldiers like you. You have the courage to fight and fight, young people. Since each person's momentum is so strong, let's add 10 kilograms of weight to each person and do a 10-kilometer off-road. Wow! As soon as these words were spoken, the entire scene was in a state of uproar, and even for the rest of my life, I was shouting like a thief. You came out to pit your teammates, right? He Chengwang's face stiffened. He had originally wanted to show off that as a prick, he also had his own personality and would shine brightly here for the rest of his life. Naturally, he couldn't bear it anymore. So some are eager to show themselves. Unexpectedly, due to one of my words, I was able to bear a weight of 10 kilograms directly. What a joke. They have been tired for half a day today. With an additional 10 kilograms, who can withstand it? Everyone has it, Fan Tianlei said with a cold and stern expression. Brush. The remaining soldiers stood at attention, their bodies straight. Turn right. Brushing. Everyone turned around. Let's get started. Under the leadership of Fan Tianlei, the group left the assembly point one after another, arrived outside, and carried out weight sorting. After the rest of her life and her companions left, a strange look flashed through Tan Xiaolin's beautiful eyes. For a moment, even she wanted to snatch the rest of her life away. If such a soldier were to enter their Fire Phoenix, that would be great. It's hard to say that there might even be a war king in the Fire Phoenix. If we were to say the most satisfied, it would probably be He Jijun. He never expected that a college student who had just joined the military for half a year could achieve such a level in his remaining life. It was truly a demon. Soon, Yu Sheng and others arrived outside. At this moment, many soldiers have a bitter expression on their faces. Although they often cross country for 10 kilometers, they are now tired and hungry, unable to run at all, and they all know that the Wolfang Special Operations Base must be in the mountains, which has led to a significant increase in difficulty. For them, it is also a considerable challenge. Especially for the rest of one's life, it is a challenge. Fan Tianlei smiled and glanced at Yu Sheng, with a hint of cunning in his eyes. Yu Sheng saw it and immediately understood what Fan Tianlei meant. Damn it, this stinky and shameless person is actually seeking revenge. For the rest of his life, his face looked a bit ugly. He had just completed 2,000 push-ups, which caused his muscles to have an indescribable pain, as if they were torn. If he ran another 10 kilometers, it would be like killing his life. The key is, we also need to bear weight. At this moment, Fan Tianlei sat shamelessly in the car, with Chen Shanming driving the car. Fan Tianlei held his horn and loudly said, "What are you still doing? Don't you run quickly. I'll tell you, if you can't reach the base before dark, you'll all have no food to eat, and the last 10 people will be eliminated." Everyone listened to these words, and their faces changed. For a moment, they looked at each other. This is really killing me, everyone is drooping their faces, as ugly as it is. Wait, there will be elimination. What does this sentence mean? Elimination. However, there is one person who is an exception here. That's the rest of my life. For the rest of my life, my face was filled with joy and I thought to myself, as long as I can't keep up with the big army, among these last 10, shouldn't I be able to leave the military camp and go home to become my own wealthy second generation? For becoming a soldier, the rest of his life was not very interested. He had a mine at home, and who would come here to suffer? He also wondered where his last life had a muscle twitch. Anyway, it's most important to go home and inherit the family property. Didi, release the main task. As the sound of the system fell, it made his heart skip a beat for the rest of his life, and he suddenly felt a bad premonition about to happen. Thank you for the 588 book coin reward of Zhu Beiji's brilliant spring scenery and the 100 book coin reward of fearlessness and disability. Thank you for your support. Seeing the name Zhu Beiji, the shining spring scenery, reminds me of my childhood and the time when I followed dramas for quite some time. Also, I would like to request a recommendation vote and join the bookshelf. Each vote you cast is the greatest support for the witch. Thank you all. End of this chapter. 9. During the assessment in Chapter 9. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 9. During assessment, the host becomes a qualified Special Forces soldier and rewards them based on their performance. If the mission fails, the host will never be punished. After listening for the rest of my life, I was stunned and couldn't help but curse loudly in my heart. I am a wealthy second generation, and I just want to inherit my family business when I come home. Why is it so difficult? I just want to be a beautiful man, and I want to have sex with a few African girls. Why is it so difficult? There will definitely be no punishment, believe you, there will be ghosts. The rest of my life looked a bit unpleasant, and I became a qualified Special Forces soldier. I'm afraid it's a fake system, right? As for whether what the system says is true or not, I don't know for the rest of my life. It is better to believe in its existence than to believe in its absence. The rest of his life took a deep breath and cursed inwardly, "System, you're amazing. If you're a soldier, then you'll be a soldier. No one's afraid of anyone, but a good man will have to join the army. If you don't join the army, you'll regret it for a lifetime." The system thought, "I believe you're a ghost. What are you still looking at? Hurry up and run," He Chengwang shouted in the crowd, carrying his bag and desperately following up. For the rest of his life, he didn't catch up at the beginning, but instead became the last person. He rubbed his somewhat stiff muscles. Is there a product that can eliminate fatigue in the system? I couldn't help but ask for help from the system for the rest of my life. No, the system's answer made the rest of his life's face stiffen. What's the use of asking you? Yu Xing cursed inwardly, then quickly followed him with his package on his back. After resting for a while, he also recovered a lot. He suddenly realized that his recovery speed seemed to have increased significantly. What's going on? How could it recover so quickly? Is it Dragon Elephant Divine Beast blood? In an instant, he thought of Divine Beast blood for the rest of his life. If it weren't for Divine Beast blood, he couldn't have persisted until now. So, can the Divine Beast blood continue to be developed? I thought to myself for the rest of my life. Not bad. The system suddenly appeared and said, the blood of the Divine Beast contains extremely powerful potential, which requires the host to gradually explore. As expected. Yu Xing's expression was joyful, and he quickly followed suit. He realized that as he ran, the soreness in his arm muscles gradually disappeared. It was obvious that this was the restoring power brought by the Divine Beast's blood. Unexpectedly, the Divine Beast's blood had such strong restoring power. This new discovery made the rest of my life full of joy. When Yu Xing followed the footsteps of the main force, many people in the main force looked towards him, and when they saw Yu Xing running towards them, their eyes were filled with a strong sense of war. Perhaps they won the thunderous battle for the rest of their lives, which made them admire, but this is not a reason for them to admit defeat. As a soldier, one must have the spirit of facing difficulties and being brave enough to go straight. Run. With a loud roar, everyone rushed to chase after Fan Tianlei's military vehicles. This scene was also noticed by Fan Tianlei, who had a smile on his face. Young people, full of blood and energy, not bad. Chief of Staff, I just did over 2,000 push-ups for the rest of my life, which consumed the majority of my energy. If I can't keep up now, wouldn't I be eliminated? Chen Shanming was puzzled. Since Fan Tianlei is so optimistic about the rest of his life, why did he make such a request? Originally, they could have taken a car to the Wolf-Tooth Special Operations Base for the rest of their lives. After doing this, it directly became an elimination system. Young man, if you don't push me, I won't know how much potential I have. Fan Tianlei's words left Chen Shanming speechless for a moment. I'm afraid it's revenge for beating up the small report, Chen Shanming thought to himself, but of course, he didn't dare to say these words. Hey, have you caught up? Fan Tianlei was taken aback, with a hint of surprise and shock on his face. Did you really catch up? Chen Shanming looked in the rearview mirror and found the rest of his life galloping on horseback, which surprised him slightly. At the forefront now are He Chengwang, Wang Yanbing, and Li Erniu, followed by Su Tianlong and Song Kaifei as pilots for the rest of their lives. If the rest of their life is falling behind, it is also in their understanding. After all, the rest of their life has just competed with the Thunder God and has already consumed the vast majority of their physical strength. How much time does this take? Just caught up. Is this guy a machine? Is it not physically demanding? Not only him, but also Fan Tianlei was a bit confused and couldn't figure out the rest of his life for a moment. What? He Chengwang also noticed the rest of his life behind him. His eyes widened in disbelief and he said, how could he catch up so quickly? How could he catch up so quickly? Who caught up? Wang Yanbing was puzzled for a moment and couldn't help but turn his head to look over. When he saw the rest of his life, Wang Yanbing's old face twitched. I have a brain. How did he catch up? In their hearts, both of them were stirred up by turbulent waves, but Li Erniu, a real person, was full of admiration and said, he's really amazing. He can still run like this for the rest of his life. He Chengwang and Wang Yanbing were both speechless for a moment. How did you find your partner with this clumsy head? What kind of smart person are we? We still have no partners, are we too smart? The two of them had already known about Li Erniu's relationship, so at this moment, such a piece of information came to their minds. Run, we can't let him exceed. He Chengwang gritted his teeth and ran over. Wang Yanbing is no exception. But soon, the rest of my life caught up with the two of them. The two of them had a headache, and they had an advantage in physical strength. Surprisingly, they were surpassed by the rest of my life. How could this be like watching a science fiction blockbuster? Nevertheless, they were still biting their teeth tightly and chasing after each other relentlessly. Exceeding He Chengwang and Wang Yanbing. As Fan Tianlei watched the rest of his life getting closer and closer, his heart was also filled with waves of shock. Isn't this kid tired? He Chengwang, Wang Yanbing, and Li Erniu, but the soldiers he personally recruited, all of them have the opportunity to become outstanding Special Forces soldiers in the future, because they are born to be soldiers. Especially for He Chengwang and Wang Yanbing, they regarded the rest of their lives as their opponents and tried their best to show off themselves, but in the end being surpassed by the rest of one's life. Where does this look like a rookie egg? Is this stamina enough to compare with Special Forces? Just let Lei Zhan run, I guess he won't be so arrogant for the rest of his life. At this moment, his face remained unchanged for the rest of his life, as he realized that his physical strength had already recovered a lot, and he had recovered his strength while running. If this were to be said, no one would believe it. Because this is too bullshit. Fan Tianlei, you stinky and shameless person. Don't think I don't know that you're intentional. If you want to see me fall behind, there's no way. In the rest of his life, he glanced at Fan Tianlei. How could Fan Tianlei's actions escape his scrutiny? That's why he worked hard to keep up. "I'm not overtaking your car," said Fan Tianlei in the rest of his life, grinning and accelerating his speed once again. "May I ask for a recommendation ticket? Thank you for your support. This book is temporarily updated twice a day. I hope everyone can support this book, thank you." End of this chapter. 10, Chapter 10 Shock. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 10 Shock. Has the speed increased again? Fan Tianlei and Chen Shanming had not yet woken up from the shock brought by the rest of their lives when they saw that Yu Sheng had accelerated his speed again. This made Chen Shanming shudder for a moment and couldn't help but speak up. How could this kid still have such strong stamina at this moment? When he was competing with Lei Zhan just now, he had already exhausted a lot of stamina, but he could still keep up with our speed. No, this kid's speed is still accelerating. Are you crazy? Fan Tianlei was almost scared when he saw this scene. Are you joking? With such crazy speed, his muscles can withstand it. Running people to death again. However, looking at the rest of my life, it doesn't seem like I'm about to be run to death at all. For a moment, Fan Tianlei took a deep breath. Firstly, there is makeup penetration. This guy is simply a natural actor, and he is also the most top-notch type of actor, because what he plays is like something. 3 days of makeup penetration. If it weren't for his use of the Heavenly Eye system and Chen Shanming's cooperation in chasing Yu Sheng, it would probably take him a day to reach the assembly point. It was because of his reasons that Yu Sheng happened to arrive. At this moment, the physical strength displayed in the rest of his life shook him even more. This kid is like a cow, an elephant, with endless power. No, Chief of Staff, this kid wants to overtake, Chen Shanming exclaimed, realizing his lifelong intentions. Overtaking. Fan Tianlei's voice also grew a bit longer, and he couldn't help but stare at the rest of his life running behind him. This kid has exhausted so much energy, but he still has the stamina to chase cars. Is this still human? However, the car must not be overtaken for the rest of his life. If he overtakes the car, how will he manage this group of guys in the future? He must not make such a mistake. Chen Shanming, hurry up and don't let him keep up, Fan Tianlei said. Yes, Chief of Staff. Chen Shanming stepped on the accelerator and the speed increased significantly. For the rest of his life, he relentlessly chased after him, biting and not letting go, as if he didn't exceed this car and never gave up. Fan Tianlei took a deep breath from the sight. Talent, this is talent. For a moment, Fan Tianlei was extremely excited. For the rest of my life, as long as I cultivate it well, I will become a future king of war, even surpassing thunder battles. Cultivating a king of war is quite difficult, and the resources consumed are also very terrifying. However, if I can cultivate a king of war, these resources are not a big deal. If we talk about the most scarce, it is talent, a potential stock similar to becoming a military king. I'll go, Song Kaifei couldn't help but say. It's just nonsense, the car is almost out of sight. Su Tianlong was also stunned as he watched the direction in which the car and the rest of his life gradually disappeared. How come Yu Sheng still has such strong physical strength? What does he want to do? Why do I feel like I'm chasing a car? He Chengwang stared blankly at Yu Sheng as he ran. Chasing a car, I had a headache. He's really chasing a car, Wang Yanbing took a cold breath. Is this guy crazy? He's not afraid his muscles can't handle it. If he runs like this, his muscles will collapse. This guy is just a pervert, a lunatic. The other soldiers, one by one, all had this sentence in their minds. If it were any of them, they would never be able to do it. Just 2,000 push-ups would make them so tired that they couldn't even get up tomorrow. Not to mention chasing cars. Chasing cars. What exactly are you thinking? That big iron lump is something that a person can run through. Are you a human, not a machine? But why do you see this guy running so hard? At the same time, for the rest of his life, Chen Shanming chased after Fan Tianlei's military vehicle. In such mountainous areas, he didn't dare to drive too fast, and driving too fast could easily cause accidents. If you dare to drive 100 miles, you will definitely be shocked. Even so, his speed reached 40 miles per hour. 40 miles is nothing. The rest of my life behind me is equivalent to running 40 kilometers per hour. This kid, despite wasting so much energy, can still run 40 kilometers per hour. Is he still human? It's like a galloping horse, an animal. Even if the animal has been running for a while, it has to stop and rest. On the military vehicle, Fan Tianlei was staring blankly. If conditions permit, he would really want to jump off and give this guy a hard kiss. Genius is simply a genius. As for Chen Shanming, he was even more frightened by the rest of his life. They were all special forces soldiers, running 40 kilometers without any problem, and could even run continuously for an hour. But this is already his limit. And it had to be during his heyday, similar to the rest of his life. He asked himself if he could do it. 20 minutes later, the rest of his life saw the entrance to the Wolf-Tooth Special Operations Base. At this moment, he was also panting heavily, with beads of sweat as big as beans flowing down his cheeks, even his clothes soaking wet. Although his recovery speed was extremely fast, his consumption along the way was even more terrifying, and his recovery could not keep up with the speed of consumption. However, deep down in his heart, he was more excited. The blood of the dragon elephant divine beast over the past century, especially when it was boiling, filled him with strength. This was the first form of the dragon elephant divine beast, with boiling blood. Both durability and endurance have been greatly improved, and he never expected to be able to chase military vehicles all the way to the entrance of the Wolf-Tooth Special Operations Base. It's just a pity that he didn't overtake the military vehicle along the way, but he wasn't discouraged either. The speed of the military vehicle was too fast to catch up, which was reasonable. However, if given the chance, he felt that one day he could catch up with the military vehicle. As the military vehicle came to a stop, the rest of his life also came to a stop. He bent over, supported his knees with both hands, panting heavily. At this moment, he felt as if his body had been hollowed out. Anyone who does over 2,000 push-ups and then runs 10 kilometers with a load will probably have to lie down. The ability to persist until now and the rest of my life is also due to that willpower. Didi, congratulations to the host. After completing the first 10-kilometer gallop, reward the host with 10 military merit points. Military merit value. For the rest of my life, upon hearing this news, I looked overjoyed. After running 10 kilometers, you still have military merit points to earn. Isn't this too good? The system is completely delivering warmth. Just as the rest of his life was still happy about his military achievements, Fan Tianlei had already walked over. He looked at Yu Sheng and couldn't help but ask, "Yu Sheng, are you okay?" "It's okay, I'm happy. I just obtained 10 points of military merit, and for the rest of my life, I felt very happy and my speech was a bit drifting." "Nothing at all." Fan Tianlei suppressed the palpitations in his heart and asked with concern. He watched the rest of his life run over with his own eyes, and in his heart, he was actually afraid that he would be defeated by the rest of his life. If such a soldier were defeated by the training, he would probably be able to be hacked by a wolf's head. Even he wouldn't forgive himself. Thank you very much for your support. Also, please continue to request recommended tickets. Thank you all. End of this chapter.